We play in a tough division, there's no question. When you look at the playoffs to this point, Washington's won, the Rangers have won, and Pittsburgh's won. The only team that's lost is us, and it was to one of those three teams. It won't get easier next year. It just won't. Many years ago, I lived in Alberta, and I was covering Calgary and Edmonton, along with Hockey Night in Canada. And Edmonton had Gretzky, Messier, all the guys. Calgary built a team and beat them, won a cup. And so you draw on belief and experience. We and I hate to say this, but Pittsburgh and Washington have been at it a long time. Rangers too. We were 30th. Yes, it was a bit ago now, but we're building. And just you have to try to find a way. You have to examine every single possibility, as Jarmo said, to try to find a way to beat the team that's there. I think our guys learned a lot in this round with the amount of them that are playing in their playoffs for the first time. And again, I draw on experience. My first playoff series, ironically, was for St. Louis against Pittsburgh, and I wasn't very good. I pride myself on being a good playoff player after that, but I had to go through that and learn. And hopefully our guys do exactly that. In fact, I know they will. So it's never going to be easy, especially in this division. But we'll find a way.
Just some housekeeping. Any injuries or surgeries you want to tell us about?
I think Nutivara will need a hip surgery, and he'll be the recovery's 4 months, and that's why he's not going to the Worlds. He was invited by Team Finland to go to Worlds, but cannot. I think he'll go through surgery maybe as early as tomorrow, and other than that, just bumps and bruises, and that's about it.
Was that a reoccurring injury or something that happened during the playoffs?
His hip had been nagging on all year, and that's why there was some maintenance days and games that he sat out just so that he could go get through the season down the stretch.
And you mentioned the World Championships. Any players going now that you can tell us about?
Well, D. Kukan is with Team Switzerland. Jonas Korpisalo will be joining Team Finland. I think that both him and Hannikainen are still kind of in them. They have to make the team, but I think there's a good chance that they will. William Karlsson will be going for Team Sweden. Lucas Sedlak, because of his injury at the end of the year, is not going to go to try out for Team Czech Republic. He would have been invited, but he opted not to go. And I don't think that there's anybody else right now that's going.
Yeah, I just want to ask, you were in this position 3 years ago, losing to Pittsburgh in 2014. You didn't make the playoffs the next year. What gives you confidence that you're going to be able to make it 2 years in a row?
Well, we lost that series in 6. We lost this series in 5. And in my opinion, and everybody, I haven't even asked Jarmo this, but I think we're a much better team now than we were then, with a better base and a better foundation. We've gained experience through this. The winning streak we had, the play that wasn't as good late in the season, the playoff, we lost in 5, but there was some good things. And I'm the type of person who I've got to keep my glass half full because it's real. So I have no I mean, I said it's going to be tough. We're in a tough. This sport's tough with the parity, but I believe in this group, and I think we're a team that's going to get better. It may not be a point in time where we make the playoffs with a dozen games left in the season. It might take till the last week. Who knows? Because this is tough. But I firmly believe in this group going forward. Remember, I said big picture. We've got a good base here. We've gone through a lot of the transition of trying to build your own from within through the draft. Players are showing up now that are very good players. Some of the development process with those people in Cleveland, et cetera, which takes time, has happened. So I'm pretty positive about this.
I'm 100% convinced that we're a better team right now than 3 years ago when we went out in 6. I mentioned the advanced stats and analytics, and unfortunately they don't always produce wins for you, and therefore we're out in 5 games, but every single one of the games except one we outpossessed the opponent and outshot and outchanced. So that's something that we believe in the long run will produce results as well. When you look at the big picture, if you can be a team that outpossesses, outchances, outshoots the opponent, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. in a sample size of 5 games, it doesn't always happen. And with the opponent having the top snipers in the game, it doesn't always happen. But and at the end of the day, it's about the result. That whether you win or lose the series, but when you look at an 82-game season, if you can do that, if you can play on that level, you're going to win enough hockey games to get to the playoffs, and that's the minimum requirement, minimum goal that we have to have as an organization, as a team, and then we get another chance to play in the playoffs, and we'll be better for the experience that we had this year.
The game that we didn't was game 3 here, the overtime game, but the numbers weren't as good.
Jarmo, I'm sorry, this is for both of you guys. It's funny you're talking about advanced stats and analytics, and does Torts behind the scenes more willing to accept numbers and stuff than when he's with us? Like, just how he doesn't want numbers at all?
I think that he's seeing a lot more correlation between the analytics and the way we analyze the game, both on the team and individual level. Now that he's got familiarity with the. Josh always sends us the email of the analytics after every game, broken down by the lines and combinations and the matchups. And we joke about it after the games. Oh, we won the Corsi, but we lost the game, or vice versa. But I'm hearing less and less of that from Torts lately. So I'm thinking that he's slowly starting to realize that there is a true correlation between the advanced stats and winning. But again, sample size of 5 games might not give you the true story.
You had to butt heads. Not butt heads, but I mean, again,
no. He's very receptive, and he will study and he will read, and then he has his own ways of barking about it. But
he's Torts.
He's a smart man, and he if he sees something and you can prove it to him, he'll always be willing to listen and talk and explore and have an open mind. That's I think that's a big misconception about him, that he's that hard-headed. He's not dumb. He's a smart man, so he has an open mind.
I can honestly say that there's been times when Jarmo's had a study done on something to do with the game, and Jarmo's gone in and sat down, and Torts will, then he'll read it and he'll go, yeah. Okay, I see. I get you. By the way, can you do this for me and get this done? So he's old school, but he's got an open mind, and he's good that way.
Where are you guys at with Ryan Murray and where he's at in his career right now? I don't think he's been envisioned as a third pairing guy, and he ended the season with an injury, maybe more than just his hand. Where's he at health-wise, and where are you at outlook-wise with him in his career?
Well, you know what? The injury, obviously very disappointing. He goes down and blocks a shot and breaks his hand. Could happen to anybody, and unfortunately happened to him, where he's already had a few shortened seasons because of injuries. He's very young still, and we've seen what he can do when he's at his best. If we think that Ryan Murray's in our third pairing, that's a huge luxury to have. I don't think anybody can have that. I don't think too many teams in this league have that type of luxury. And we always thought about it, is that, if anybody goes down with our team on defense, we still have guys that are genuinely top 4 defensemen. And I think Nutivara has that potential too. And time will tell whether he'll reach it or not, but I think he has top 4 potential. So, Murray can get back to where he was before. I have no doubt about it. And he's going to make it hard for the coaching staff to divide the ice time properly. And who knows? I mean, we talk about this and internally all the time with the way our lines were this year. Some nights what somebody might call fourth line was our second line, and third line was second line, or first line was third line some nights. We don't really have what you call like a first and second, and even if you look at ice time, some nights, Hardenell and Sedlak and Sam Gagner played 12 minutes or 14 minutes. So that's not fourth line minutes, and then other nights not so much, and we had other guys in those type of roles. We're not your typical team of 1, 2, 3, 4 in that way, I don't think, and that was also one of our biggest strengths. But I think that one thing with Torts is that you're always going to have to earn your ice time. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Ryan Murray or one of the most experienced guys on forward or forward side or whatever position. You always have to earn your ice time from him, and I think that's the right way. I think that's the way it should be. I admire that he has the courage to sit out anybody. He doesn't care about the perception or whatever. If it's best for the team, he's ready to make the hard decisions, and that's he's a good coach that way. But our depth on defense is in really good shape right now.
I think it's a big summer for Ryan, for him and for us. He knows it. We've had good talks with him. He's had good talks with our strength and conditioning people, our doctors. He's a good hockey player. We've seen very good things from him. He's had some bad luck without question, but he's got to overcome that. And I think he's at the age now where he's not a young puppy anymore. He's when you sit and chat with him, when he sits in the chair and you talk about things, and you have to be very forthright with players. You have to, because it's their future. And it has something to do with us too, but you care about the player. And he seems to me, at least, to be a more mature, which is natural. He's another year older, and he knows he wants it. He saw some people go by him. He's a competitive kid, so he knows it's a big summer, and for us, that's a luxury. He comes to camp in shape and ready to go. We'll be in a good spot.
Was he injured beyond the hand?
He had aches and pains, but the hand was the primary thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 pins in his hand, and it takes a while to get the strength back, and then takes a while to get the conditioning back, and so I think he was ready to play Game 6.
Yeah, he might have been. Yeah, the knuckle that it was shoved back. He was the puck hit the outside of his glove. The knuckle, I think it was the middle one or the next one too.
He had 2 pins.
Yeah, shoved back, and they had to pin everything, and so he couldn't do a whole lot.
Staying on the defense for just a moment, I wanted to clarify the Nutavaara situation. When he missed that stretch of games, I think in January, February, maybe like 8 or 10, was that the hip? The hip injury?
Yeah.
And secondly, I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts. You brought Kyle Quincy in here, played a lot of games, and then he ended up going back in the series and looked, at least to us, pretty good. What are your thoughts on him going forward? He's an unrestricted free agent.
I think he was a good pro for us. I think that he played well. I thought he played really well when he came back into the lineup. He's a veteran guy with experience, and he pretty much was exactly what we expected of him when we picked him up. We'll see where this goes in the off season. I forgot to mention Vladislav Gavrikov, who's on the Russian national team, probably plays in the World Championship. He's another guy that we think that has a very good chance of, if he wants to sign with us now, has a very good chance of stepping right in and playing for us. I mean, obviously, again, with him, he'll have to earn the ice time, but we went to watch him this year in the KHL with John, and he's 220 pounds, 6'3" defenseman who's very mobile and can move the puck, and if he gets the World Championships under his belt here this spring, I think that there's a very good chance that he could be close to playing for us next year. So that's another guy to add into the Murray, Nutavaara, Gabriel Carlson, Scott Harrington, and then Gavrikov. I think we're in really good shape there. So we'll have to do our study and make our decisions on where Quincy might fit in that. And then there's the other part of it too, that Quincy had a good year this year with New Jersey and played some really good games for us too. He will have other opportunities most likely, and he's going to weigh those things on his table and see where it goes.
Jarmo and I went to Slovakia and to Croatia and saw Gavrikov play as his KHL team made the swing out of Russia. So we know we know what's there. This kid's a good kid. He's a good player. He's a big horse. The thing for me, at least, to do with Quincy, we know Quincy now. That's good for us. There's so many things that can happen during an off season, whether he can go sign somewhere for a real nice and good for him, God bless him. We may need something down the road. Things can happen. You never know, but we know Quincy now, which is a good thing for us. We can't sit here right now and say what we're going to do because there's too many unknowns, but we know, and he was a good pro for us, a very good pro.
Sticking on the defense, you guys knew you had the talent on the back end this year, but there was also a change in the way you had them play, activating, joining the rush. Just your comments on how that contributed to the success this year.
I think it's a huge part. And you look at Seth's numbers this year, you look at Zach's numbers this year, they're unbelievable. I mean, as I said, I don't think you can find a better 1-2 punch around the league. I would be very comfortable comparing those two guys to anybody's D, and they're only going to get better. I think they're going to get at least level or two better. It depends on them how much they want to work, but I know both of those guys are hungry, both of those guys are driven, both of those guys are ambitious, and they're anxious to get going again. And I also think that both of those guys have tremendous potential as leaders, and they're going to take more of a responsibility in that front as well. I'm really proud of the way Zach's handled himself in the first year in the National Hockey League, as far as how humble he is, how respectful he is, and how good he is, and still remains humble and respectful. And I think that's one of the reasons why the guys in the room respect him so much. They all know his ability to play and the talent, but the way he handled himself takes that respect to another level. And Seth, I know, has taken more of a leadership role in the room as well. He's just getting started. I mean, he's been in the league for a while, but he's so young, and he's got another level or two for sure to go to. So I'm so excited about our defense, and yeah, they have to be a big part of it. 47 points for Zach Werenski in the rookie year. You can look down at history and the list of names that come up when you compare those numbers, and especially the way he played as a rookie, and it's not easy to find those guys.
I think David Savard is a zero maintenance guy. He played well. For me, this was the best season I've seen Jack Johnson have since I've been here. I don't know if you agree,
Absolutely.
but
they were great.
He was
both
steady,
those guys.
and he's in a real good place in his life. Real good place. A lot of things are taken care of. Family-wise, it's great. That's just us knowing that going into next season, he'll be as good, if not better, and that makes us better. So it's good things.
It sounds to me like your inclination is to stay pat because you're comfortable with what's in the system, meaning, and by inference, not doing anything splashy this summer in terms of acquisitions. Is that fair to say, or how would you
I
describe
don't
it?
think we'd ever say that we're going to stay pat, that we're always going to look for ways to. I know it's a boring same answer every time, but we're always looking for ways to get better. So, after we gather all this information, we're going to start talking about this and that, and now I'm going to start talking this week to the all the disappointed general managers around the league and see where they're at, what they want to do, including myself, and in the disappointed category, I mean. So those talks are going to start right now, and then we'll see. There might be a match somewhere where we feel that would make our team better. We're always willing to look at all the options of doing that. I think that you look at the games 1 and 2, for example, we need to put the puck in the net, and we had opportunities, we had scoring chance, we didn't put the puck in the net. Well, they got a scoring chance, they put the puck in the net, and so we know what we need to get better at. I think there are some improvements that are going to come from inside with guys growing and getting better, and hopefully some new players coming in and making an impact. Like Josh Anderson, I don't think a lot of people thought that he'd get 17 goals this year. Well, maybe he gets 20 next year. I think Oliver Bjorkstrand has a potential to be a 30-goal scorer in this league one year. Maybe not next year. Who knows when? But I, over my 15 years of doing amateur scouting, I don't remember seeing too many better snipers than he is. He got 60 goals and 2 points per game 2 years in a row in the Western League, and was a dominant player. Do we look for somebody from the outside? Absolutely, but we're going to try to build it with the process in mind that we've talked about all along. That let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's make sure that everything makes sense in the long term, as much as it does in the short term. So, but every option we're every day we talk about it, talk about our options, talk about the phone calls, the opportunities that might arise around the league, and that's basically starting right now. It's pretty quiet during the playoff time, but I know that I already got one call yesterday from a disappointed colleague, and so it's starting.
The one thing I will say is that in trying to build an organization, the more depth you build, the better chance it gives you to do things if something comes along. We may have something that another team wants, and they may have something that we want. And we have no fear in doing that, as we saw with the Johansson-Seth Jones trade. Splashy's hard because it's a lot of people don't want to move people if they're really good players, and we're to the point where we have an assumption of what we're looking for. Either we continue with the plan, or we find a way through the depth we're building up to maybe do something to a team that is looking for what we have. So I think it's all options are on the table.
You made a significant investment in Brandon Saad, and I'm just curious about management's view of the fact that, he was almost scratched this year, which, happens with Torts, but also he was benched in a playoff game, one in which he really needed goals, and that is primarily his job. Just your view on Saad and his situation, management's point of view?
Yeah, I think that he's one of those guys that came into our meetings knowing that he has to be better, and he will be better. I'm convinced about that. At Christmas time, he was the leading scorer in the National Hockey League 5-on-5, which is something that is encouraging. I think that when you see his best game and his average game, there's too big of a gap. When he's at his best, he can be a dominant force in the league, and we expect that 82 times a year. There's no question about it, and I think that he knows it just as well as we do, and he wants to get to that. I think that, like I said, I like the fact that everybody has to earn their ice time from Torts. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what type of role you have or name you have or paycheck you have. You're still going to have to earn your ice time. That's the way it should be, and that's the only real power that the coaches have over the highly paid athletes that we have, and they get paid for a reason because they're so good. But it's great that Torts and his staff, they hold him accountable, and that's what we expect. And we expect the guys to get better. He's a young player. He's 24 years old, so he will get better.
I think that's a good question. I think it's a fair question. And what he just told you was exactly the conversation that went on yesterday with Jarmo and us and Brandon. And Brandon was very open-minded about everything. He knows he has more to offer. It's about the consistency. And Jarmo just said it exactly the way it is.
You talked about changing the culture here inside, but what did this season mean around the league, and how can that maybe have an impact in terms of future trades and free agent signings?
My belief is, as far as free agent signings go here in Columbus, just about everybody I talk to, and Jarmo does more with the agents, but people believe in Columbus, the city of Columbus, the quality of life. I don't think that's an issue whatsoever. A lot of times players, whether they get older or not, they want to have the opportunity to win. And I think we're in a much better spot than we used to be. I think people are going to gun for us more, and we deserve that. That's a compliment to us. But as far as if free agency, we want to do things that are sensible. We have contracts that we have to take care of with our own players before we even get into that. But no, I don't think there's anything negative there whatsoever. I think it's a positive thing. The team's better. The city has so much to offer. The people that have come here, like Sam Gagner and Seth Jones, and they go on and on about this place. People that come in from out of town that are in your business, they rave about Columbus. We're I think, in my opinion, we're lucky to have Columbus be as good as it is as we try to improve as an organization. And on top of that, and I mean this sincerely, we have good ownership here. We have real good ownership, and that helps stabilize the franchise.
Yeah, I think that, Torts talked about earning respect early on in the year. I think we did that with our regular season play for sure. We want to keep earning it every day and into the playoffs in particular. But I don't know if... I think that we've taken our team off the no-trade list of players. And like he said, that I think that we're also a destination for free agents that for sure when they put together their top destinations where we can be on those lists. We see it the way we get treated by agents and the players of college free agents and junior free agents now. That has changed. And I'm kind of joking about the no-trade list, but those are real too. Guys have their lists of teams they don't want to go to. I think we've played ourselves off that list because of, you know, the organization, the city, and the quality of the team where we're at. Players, first and foremost, they want to win. And we won a lot of games this year, so I think that it's a very good destination for players, and they know it, and we know it.
Thank you. Yeah, see that.